Hey math fans, we're on section 2.1.2. Let's get started. Use a graph to approximate the solution set for the following system of equations. Find f of x minus g of x for your estimates. F of x is equal to 2 raised to the x power. G of x is equal to x plus 2. I don't want to spoil this problem, but this is what the graph will look like eventually. Both of these graphs together, they will intersect twice. And I want to approximate where they're going to be intersecting. Notice that I have not drawn the y-axis or the x-axis, so you can't approximate using that. Rather, I'm going to use a table of figuring out if I subtract the y value here from the y value here, I notice that as I move closer to the point of intersection, if I keep subtracting when the x values are the same, this will keep getting smaller and smaller if I subtract f of x from g of x. We'll get all of these distances, and some of them will become greater, negative, and then it'll become 0 again, and then positive. And so that's the idea. We're going to subtract f of x from g of x, and we're going to substitute points in. Here's the table I'm going to be using. I'm going to post this on Google Classroom. When you are doing these types of problems where we're estimating where is the point of intersection, please use this table. I find it very helpful. So in this first column, I have f of x is equal to 2 to the x, g of x is equal to x plus 2, and then I'm going to subtract them, put the answer here. So for this first one, f of negative 4 is going to be equal to 2 to the negative 4 power. G of negative 4 is going to be equal to negative 4 plus 2. And I'm going to get an answer here. I'm going to get an answer here. Feel free to use your calculator if you like, or you can keep it in fraction form. It's up to you. 2 to the negative 4th power, my calculator comes out to 0.0625. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. And then when I go f of x minus g of x, I'm going to get 0.0625 minus negative 2, which is really plus 2. So I'm going to get 2.0625. I'm going to repeat the process for negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0. After plugging in these numbers, notice what's happening. The difference is getting smaller to the point where it was positive here. Now all of a sudden it became negative, which means somewhere in between these two x values, somewhere in between negative 1 and negative 2, the graphs of these two functions intersected. Because at some point it was equal to 0 here. Now, whether it be closer to negative 1 or negative 2, we'd have to do some further investigation. But I can tell you right now, they've intersected. And now the other function is going to be above. G of x is now going to be actually above f of x. Because when we start subtracting them, we're going to get negative numbers. Now, if all of a sudden we get a positive number again, that means they intersected again and switched positions. As I finish my table, I notice it stayed negative for a while, but look at this. Right here, when x is equal to 2, we hit it right on the money. 4 minus 4 is 0. That means this is a point of intersection right here, because both of their y values are the same. Therefore, their difference is 0, which means they've intersected. So there was a point of intersection here. We didn't get it exactly, but I know it exists somewhere in between negative 2 and negative 1. And here I know for sure when x is equal to 2, you got a second point of intersection. And from there, you'll notice that their differences are just going to keep increasing because of this exponential function. It's just going to take off. Let me show you the graph one more time. So right here, as predicted, between -2 and -1, there was that point of intersection between -2 and -1, because when we were subtracting these values, it got closer and closer. And then all of a sudden, now with the f of x below g of x, we started getting negative values here. So I knew there was a point of intersection there. And then eventually, if you keep subtracting them, right there is that other point of intersection I was talking about, 2, 4. Both f of x and g of x, when x is equal to 2, will have a y value of 4. So therefore, when you subtract 4 minus 4, it will be equal to 0. So that is a point of intersection as well. And that'll do it. We'll see you in class.